You didn't have an abortion, but maybe you're part of someone else's story. It could be you're a friend or family member who influenced the decision, or you stayed quiet and didn't make any comments. Maybe you passed along the name of a clinic or gave out information on how to get the abortion pills. Did you think it was being a good friend to help pay for the abortion or provide transportation? Whatever your part was in someone's abortion, there's been an impact, not just on the mother, her partner, and their child. There's been an impact on you, whether you know it or not. I've invited my friend and fellow YouTube content creator, Robert Wilkins, to talk this over with me and to offer us some helpful insights. And as he does, I'd invite you to think about these questions. What's been my role in an abortion? How did it impact me? How did it change my relationship with the people involved? What would I say or do differently now? In what ways might I need some healing? Now, let's meet Robert and hear his experience as a friend of someone who had an abortion.
Thank you, Jane, for, having me be part of your channel.
Yeah.
Today's topic, I'm pretty excited about it. I'm glad that you thought of me.
Well, it came up in a conversation we were having about my channel and what I'm trying to accomplish here. And you shared some personal experience you have. So I'd like to get right into it and ask you to tell us, tell us the story. How did you become involved in someone's abortion?
Well, first of all, let me share a little bit with your audience who I am. I grew up in Monroe, Louisiana. I came to Oklahoma by way of a basketball scholarship in which I played college basketball. From there, I ended up being in law enforcement. I was a police officer with the Ardmore Police Department. Then from there, became the state district court juvenile officer with the 20th Judicial District in the state of Oklahoma. And then I ended my career for 25 years with the Office of Juvenile Affairs, in which 9 of the last years, I was a supervisor of 5 counties.
Wow.
And so that's been my experience as far as from high school in Louisiana, grew up in Louisiana, and then coming to Oklahoma, and now a YouTube content creator and meeting people such as yourself.
Well, it's so great that we're here together to talk about what is your involvement in an abortion. I know you haven't personally been involved as a couple, but when I was mentioning to you about how abortion affects so many different people, you said it started to stir some memories. So what do you want us to know about that?
Well, Jane, I was watching your channel as to one of your topics. And as you talked about abortion, because, when we first met, you were providing some great content involving almost like a counseling therapeutic type of service
Mhm.
in a sense.
Yeah.
And then I noticed you pivoted and you started talking about abortions. And that triggered something in me that I hadn't thought about in decades, actually. A good friend of mine who I played college basketball with, he approached me one day and said that he and his girlfriend, who I was also good friends with, wanted me to take them to a clinic in Dallas, Texas, in which, I had a car. And so I obliged them. And I drove, as we were driving to the clinic from Oklahoma to Dallas, Texas, uh, some things opened up. Now, I didn't know at first why we were going down there. I'm just thinking, she's going to the doctor, not knowing that something else was in mind. And through the long drive, about a 3-hour drive, uh, it was discovered she was going to have an abortion. Now, I never really heard of abortion during that time. Here I am, a young man in college, playing college basketball, having the time of my life. And to take a fellow athlete and his girlfriend, who was my friend as well, to a clinic in Dallas, Texas. And once I got them there, I didn't go inside. I just stayed out in the car and, of course, wandered around. And when they came out, I don't know how long it took, but it was a little while. And when they came out on that drive back to Oklahoma, it was the most quietest drive I've ever experienced in my life. Can you imagine? I'm in the front seat like a chauffeur. They're in the back seat, cuddled up, and no one saying a word. Can
Mm,
you imagine that? No one's talking.
wow.
And I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah.
So we had a 3-hour drive all the way back to Oklahoma, and there wasn't a word said. The only thing I could look in my rearview mirror and see them all hugged up. And, it's like he was consoling her in a sense.
Hmm.
But, and I never forgot that. It was the strangest thing. It was the strangest feeling.
Hmm.
And when I saw one of your episodes on abortion, that triggered that in me, in which
Yeah.
I had never thought about it again until
Hmm.
that moment. We played ball together.
Hmm.
She was his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And you can imagine when we saw each other, now with he and I, it was good. But in seeing her, she became a little bit more reserved.
Yeah.
And, you know, things changed.
Hmm.
And then I'll be honest with you, it never regained itself the way it was prior to all of that.
Yeah. Well, like you said, I mean, you and I are contemporaries, I think. And back then, nobody used the word abortion. Maybe they said, "I'm in trouble," or I've got to take care of something or take care of a problem. So I can understand where you may not have even realized what you were participating in until you were in the midst of it.
Yes,
And that had to be pretty shocking for you, and that you didn't have time to process it either.
not at all. Not
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things that you just never talked about.
Yeah.
And we just went about business as usual.
Yeah. That's the thing. One of the things about abortion is we don't know how to talk about it, and for the couple that's involved, for the woman that's involved, often she's in shock because of the trauma, and sometimes because of the physical pain. She doesn't know what to say, and for her partner, or for someone who like you drove, there really aren't words for that. And so it sounded like it was awkward, at least with her. And I wonder, did you ever talk to them about it? Or how did it, maybe a better way to ask it is, how did it change your relationship with your friend and with his girlfriend?
Well, we still remain friends,
You did.
but it was never brought up. We never talked about it.
Yeah.
But that friendship, it was like I knew the secret.
Yeah.
And of course I didn't share it with anyone.
No. No, I'm sure they trusted you. So now you've got this burden in a way that you're carrying, because secrets are burdens, don't you think?
I agree.
Yeah. So now you've got this burden, and you don't have anybody to talk to about it or to process it with, because you're protecting their confidentiality. They don't want to talk about it. And so you said you didn't think about it for years and years until we got connected.
Yes.
Yeah. And so how do you when you look back at that now, what would you want to say to that couple that you weren't able to say back then?
Well, being mature and older as I am right now, I probably, in today's mindset, I would say a lot of things,
Like what?
such as to my friend, why are
Yeah.
you doing it? What's your whole purpose for doing this? And will you think about, the complications afterwards? Is this something that you want to do and you're pushing it on her?
Mm.
Because that's the way I took it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I took it as he was more pushing her to do this, and she was a little bit more reluctant to do it, but she did it anyhow.
Hmm.
And then later on may have had regrets.
What would you say to yourself about your role and how you feel about yourself.
As far as feeling about myself, time does, when people say time heal all wounds,
Mhm.
there is some truth to that. And because, I just moved forward, went on with my life and
Yeah.
just never looked back at it.
Hmm.
And, but that's not the case for everybody.
Yeah.
Different people process things differently.
Thank you, Robert, for being with me today, for sharing your wisdom and experience. And I look forward to having you back and hear more about your experience in law enforcement. That would be a really, really exciting interview to do. So I thank you and I hope you'll be back to visit sometime soon.
My mentor, Jane, it's been an honor and a pleasure.
Thank
And I
you.
appreciate you even considering me.
Uh,
And if there's anything that I can do in the future, I'm just a phone call away.
I'm so grateful to Robert for being open and vulnerable with us today. I know it's helping someone out there who's been wrestling with some difficult memories. If you're someone who is involved in an abortion, know that God loves you and nothing you ever do is unforgivable. So go to Him and ask for His forgiveness. Pray for healing for the baby's mother and father. And if you're wondering whether you should reach out to them, ask God about it and what to say and when to do it. Pray for healing for everyone involved. Check out the description below for links to some abortion healing groups that welcome anyone, woman or man, who's looking for support in healing after abortion. Every one of us can think of something that we either regret or feel troubled by. Check out these videos to reframe your past and continue on the journey to a good life with Jesus at the center, even after abortion. Thank you for watching.